Do it. All right, Ed. You know what to do. This is the Tommy Feldman Happy Hour. Yay! Woo! Hey, all right, funny voice I just made. Look at me making funny voices to kind of energize the crowd. Yes, it's the Tommy Feldman Happy Hour every Friday here at 5 o'clock. We have a talk show where we talk and we interview comedians and we talk about what motivates them. Today is a very special show we're having because we are doing Valentine's Day here at the Tommy Feldman Happy Hour. This is actually thanks to Eric Newton. Props to Eric for coming up with this idea.
Yeah. Thank you all. Thank you all for finding love so we can make this happen.
Eric had suggested, let's change it up a little bit. Let's have a couples comedy night. And I said, okay, sounds good. So here we are. We've got couples here. We're going to interview them and find out more about, what decided to get, what the reasons were for them getting into comedy and how they sort of their comedy couple life. So it should be a lot of fun. We're not going to ask the typical questions. We're not going to be playing comedy. We're just going to have a lot of fun. Towards the end of the show, we're going to have a quiz show, but not like our usual show. We're going to have a comedy couples quiz where we're going to see if the two people in the couple can figure out what each other really thinks before they say it. So that'll be interesting to see. And Pat Griffin writes in with a thumbs up. She figured it out. So Pat, welcome to watching the show.
What's up, Pat?
Our numbers are rising, you guys. We have 13 people watching live. This is a world record Zoom comedy. We have Jason Dogleach writing in, whoop, whoop, Athena, exclamation, 5 exclamation points. So we are ready to go. We are ready to rock and roll. And as you guys may know, we start off the news with this. As you can see, I have my news background on. We start off with the news. So we're going to start off tonight with a little bit of information for you guys. And here's the news. Okay, let's see. What's the top story tonight? A coyote was spotted in Central Park in New York City this past week, which is an extremely rare thing to see. It shows just how much the environment is improving thanks to the pandemic. Now, also spotted recently in New York, we saw some sharks on Wall Street. Those guys are back. We got some bears in the East Village. And we're seeing cougars all across New Jersey. All across cougars. There we go. All right. Thank you, Ed. The number of unaccompanied immigrant children minors arriving at the U.S. border with Mexico is on a steep rise, according to the U.S. Office of Refugee Resettlement. Now, obviously, this is going to be a big challenge for the Biden administration. But, it's really a challenge to all of us because that means that this year is an El Nino year. Ninos are coming. That's right. El Ninos. Astronomers have discovered that there is this most distant object ever found in our solar system. It's this planetoid right here. It's called a planetoid. And that's what you call a small chunk of rock that orbits the sun. Now, they called it far, far out because it's so far away, obviously. But I personally don't think it is the most distant thing ever, okay? Because that would be my teenage daughter. Especially when she's on TikTok, extremely distant. And I should also say, when I first saw this name of this planetoid, I thought it was pronounced Farfarut. I thought, wow, that's really cool. They're using Middle Eastern dishes now as planet names. That's great. Farfarut. All right. 3 people who survived on coconuts for 33 days before they were rescued from an uninhabited island in the Bahamas are now back in the U.S. They're survivors and their families are, of course, very happy about this. Except that one of the survivors said that his stay on the island, could have been better with some lime trees on the island because, as everybody knows, you put the lime in the coconut. Okay. Okay, last story of the night. This is the top story, really. Earlier this week, President Biden warned U.S. lawmakers that China is going to, quote, eat our lunch if the U.S. does not get moving on our infrastructure. Now, in response, Chinese President Xi Jinping said that, look, he is not interested in eating our lunch unless that lunch is Panda Express. Then he's very interested because apparently Xi Jinping thinks Panda Express is delicious, and I 100% agree with him. It is very delicious. And that is the news, you guys. Bringing in
Excellent journalism.
Okay, well, now it's time to get into our interviewing our couples. So let's see. I want to first introduce Kayla, Marie, and Tony Meyer. Guys, give it up for Kayla and Tony. Kayla and Tony, you guys. Welcome, Kayla and Tony, to the show. Good to see you guys.
Thank you.
Now,
yeah, good seeing you, Tommy.
Good to see you, and thank you for coming to the show. We've never met. This is actually the very first time that I'm talking with you guys. So I'm just going to throw it open and ask you to introduce yourselves to us a little bit. I know you're from Oregon, but that's all I know. So tell us more about you guys.
Yeah, we are both comedians here in Salem, Oregon. And yeah, I've done improv for about 3-4 years and stand up for a couple years, and Kayla's done stand up for a couple years as well.
I'm funnier than him.
That's not. I disagree, but we're really competitive.
That was your first mistake.
Yeah, that's gonna get me in trouble later. But yeah, no, we're really competitive, and we just are always trying to make each other laugh. I think that's what draws us together. We met at an open mic.
Have you guys ever done a show where you roast each other?
No.
Just basically every night in
Yeah.
the kitchen when we're cooking dinner. Our fights sometimes turn into, like, our kids say that when we fight, it makes them laugh because we're not really fighting, we're more like roasting each other. But no, we've never done a show like that. That would be really fun.
Yeah.
So you said you guys met at an open mic. So before that, you were just did you know about each other before that? Had you heard about each other a little bit, or you just first met each other at the open mic? And
Well, yeah, I mean, the Salem comedy scene isn't, the biggest. So we knew about each other, and yeah, we met at, like, we have one comedy club in town, and so we met at that open mic, and just got to know each other from there. So
now what I was thinking to myself when Eric proposed this idea, I thought to myself, well, that would be like really convenient, because then you could have like someone to help you with your bits, listen to your bits, constant feedback. Is that true, or is it more of a detriment, or just neutral? I mean, how is it having a comedy? Are you guys helping each other out?
Well, I think so. I really appreciate his feedback, and I love hearing his jokes, and we do a lot of different things together. We both do stand up, and then he's been doing improv for a lot longer than I have, and so he got me into that. And we're also working on some sketch writing and some cool stuff coming up that we'll share. Like, yeah, can't say much more than that, but I'm excited about it, and I love working with him, and yeah, it's really helpful.
I got this from Sam, not today, but I heard this once before. Sam had told me that sometimes when you guys do comedy, like, people don't know that you're together, or someone will say, because you obviously have different last names, but you're both doing comedy. Have you ever sort of inadvertently overheard some information people revealed about your partner, and then you had to go, well, wait a minute, that's my significant other? Or have you ever sort of, kind of fly on the wall kind of thing? Have you ever had
It sounds like a plot from a sitcom.
Yeah.
yeah, it happens, like, I think that people for the most part, people find out pretty quick, because I actually prefer that, more people don't know when they're watching the comedy, because maybe if I'm talking about something personal, they're like looking over at her like, well, what's she reacting like, you know? So it's kind of a little bit of a distraction sometimes if they know. I don't know. That's just kind of my personal thought on it. But yeah, you know, I've heard people like talking like, I wouldn't say they're talking shit or anything, but
I used to work at the theater too that we met at, working together and doing comedy together. Capital City Theater, which is now Infinity Room. And so he had been part of that theater longer than I had when I started doing stand-up. And so I heard a lot of stories about him. And I didn't really know who he was at first. I actually thought he lived out of town because he always left early. But then what got my attention was he did a bit about Oreo cookies, and I really liked it. And I noticed him. So yeah.
Well, that's actually a good. I was going to ask. So, like, what do you guys like? What about each other's comedy do you really like? And you know, sort of like, did that help draw you to each other?
Yeah, I think when we she is pretty brutally honest, you know what I mean? In her comedy, and it's pretty straightforward, and so that's kind of something that attracted me for sure. I think like what's interesting about it, I think when we first met, I had done a tag to one of her jokes because I came up after her, and it was about quesadillas, I think. And it was about quesadillas, and then she was saying how it was like she had these stomach problems, and she's like, you know, you can make anything into a quesadilla. And I'm like, that's probably your stomach problems right there. So it, you know, we have a lot of fun. She's really like brutally honest, and so it's something that definitely like attracted me to her.
He's referring to a story where I shit my pants because I was nervous.
I was trying to be coy with it.
Oh man, I thought I was the only guy that had hella stories about my girlfriend shitting her pants. That's amazing.
Yeah. I appreciate that. I appreciate the recognition. You know, I'm glad you remember that. I just, I thought he did this bit about like Oreo cereal and them messing it up. He was upset because he was just telling a story about being upset because he bought this cookie cereal, and how can you fuck up cookie cereal? You know, that's like the whole idea. And he was really disappointed. And that had just happened to me with my kids like that week. And I was like, oh, he knows what's up. Yeah, he's a good dad. And I like, what do I like about your comedy? Well,
she's searching. She's like, what can I say? Something nice. Something nice.
No, he has really good ideas, and he's extremely good at improv, like a really good physical actor, and he's really fun to watch and always comes in with like these really good like punchlines and stuff, and he's brilliant. So and he's really kind. So when I met him, I was like, who is this nice person, you know, that is also funny.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What one other thing that occurred to me, you said you have children? Did you say that?
Yep. Yeah. So I've got 2 kids and she's got 3 kids.
Oh wow.
Wow. So okay, so it's what they call the blended marriage, right? So that's 5 kids, that's 5 critics.
Yeah.
Who do they like? Who do they think is the funniest, or is it?
You know, I think her kids think I'm funnier, and then my kids, I think they're just sick of our acts at this point. So they're like, something new, you know. I've heard that one, Dad. You know, like.
Yeah.
So I think so. I think, but yeah, they're tough critics sometimes. You know, they're like they'll groan if I do I'm like, they're called dad jokes for a reason,
right?
You know.
I appreciate that. You know, so I wanted to give you guys one other chance to promote. So usually on the show we play clips and we do all that stuff, but tonight we're not doing that. However, I would like to give you guys an opportunity to promote your shows, productions. You said you have a future sketch thing coming up. Is there anything that you want to tell people? We still have lots of people watching live, so is there anything that you want to promote, either of you guys, comedy-wise, coming up?
Yeah, I wrote a article that for an online zine called Little Treat. And so if you go to littletreatcomedy.com, I believe, there's two out already. And so I have an article coming up in this third one, and that comes out February 28th. And so I'm excited about that. I just got the news about that. And so,
Excellent.
And then we have our sketch writing group as well.
Yeah. So we'll be sharing that on social media soon, and it's we'll be acting in the sketches as well as we're helping write them and with a group of other people. And I'm really excited about it. It's going to be really funny.
When you debut that, why don't you come back on the show? We'll play it and, get you more exposure, and then we can all sort of get more, focus more on your comedy at that time. So please come back and stick around for the quiz, you guys. So guys, give it up for Kayla and Tony for coming on the show.
Right. Tommy.
They seem like a really cute couple, and like they seem like well synced, but we'll see how that goes later on. We'll see how that fare.
Man,
we have another cute couple. If I could replace the spotlight here. We've actually met in person. It's Funky Sam and Athena Rodriguez. Guys, give it up for Sam and Athena.
Yeah.
It is a rare thing to have comedians on the show that I've actually met. So good to see you, Sam. I know Sam was always, we've talked about having coming on, but you had a work conflict, and so this is great. You finally.
Yeah, I got off work early today for this, and so I was super excited to do that. So.
Well, I appreciate it, and Athena, you too. We've never really chatted much, but obviously, we've been on open mics together and stuff. But
I think we didn't meet until early 2020.
Mhm.
That's probably why we
Yeah.
didn't really mingle much in person. I mean, I saw you maybe 2 or 3 times tops.
Well, it's good to have you on. I want to give you an opportunity to introduce yourselves first. And by the way, we have Stephanie Knowles has a couple's name for you, Samthina.
Yeah.
I will point out that Jason Dogley said it first on the comment.
Okay.
Hey, well, I'll tell them both that I will acknowledge it. It's awesome, but I will never use it. So.
Okay, Chris Kiley just says, "Hey all," so he's watching as well. And Pat Griffin is on, and
Hi, Pat.
so,
I waved with the hand that the camera couldn't see. Sorry.
So Sam and Athena, give us your couple story, comedy story, and everything to start with.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So we went to junior high together. We went to middle school together, and so we did know each other from there. And then at the age of 29, it's like 15 years later. I ended up coming across her on Facebook. I found a few of my friends that I used to have, and I was getting into Facebook and looking for people and stuff. And I happened to come across her, and I added her, and I remember her from middle school, and I was just like, "Hey, how you been?" And she was like, tell me about her life. And she's like, "Are you stand-up comedy now?" And it was my dream at that point to do stand-up comedy. And I didn't even know there was like an open mic scene. I didn't even know, I saw what I saw on TV. I'm like, how do I go from my living room to on TV?
Mm-hmm.
And she had started inviting me to open mics and stuff, and we just started hanging out.
So this is a case of clearly one person was first and sort of, inspired the other to do comedy.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. She was doing it for about almost a year before I came along. And then I hung out for a few months, and then I started doing it not too long later.
So Athena, when he first started, was he a pro right off the bat, or was it kind of like a rough start?
I'm still not a pro. What are you talking about?
It's funny because he is just naturally very charming.
Uh-huh.
So he didn't have to work really hard to get that stage presence, really.
Uh-huh.
It was just being able to formulate his jokes. And that's when we started hanging out for the first time, as I was actually helping him get a format for his jokes, because he had a thick notebook of jokes, with goldfish, all kinds of stuff.
So how would you guys, that's an interesting situation. So you kind of inspired him, and then you coached him to do it. And how would you define what's the difference in your styles of comedy? I mean, I've heard both of you, but I'm curious how you think.
I think our comedy styles are very similar. I think we do have very similar kind of quippy comedy. What do you think?
I feel like you're very you have more punches.
I'm more one-liner.
Yeah, you're one-liner, and I'm more of like an observational kind of person with my comedy. I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah.
So now I alluded to this before, but you guys have some pretty funny stories about as a couple, right? You overhear other things. Maybe you want to tell us a little bit about some of the funny stories you've had as a comedy couple.
What do we have funny stories as a comedy couple?
I don't know. I'm interested in the one that you told Tommy that made him hey, that reminds me.
Yeah, I don't think I heard anybody talking smack about her because I mean we're pretty well established as a couple in the scene because we've been together for a long time and we've been in the scene for a long time. Okay,
I know what you mean.
Okay, go.
So there was this comedian on the scene, and I guess I didn't know personally like what he was saying, but I was just like, oh, that guy, you know, that kind of feeling. And later, when like I had walked off or something, later I found out that Sam was in a conversation with this person in like a little group setting. And he made a comment about me and didn't know that Sam was my boyfriend at the time.
I don't have any recollection of this.
Oh man.
He said something, I don't know. He said
Smart man.
Yeah, was it complimentary?
Really nice looking or something like kind of like, ooh, I like that or something. And Sam was like, I'll think about that later. I'm not doing anything about it now but that.
It was probably a green one. I was like, hell yeah, check that shit out. So yeah, I don't know. As far as funny stories, I mean, so 2020, we were really gonna like go all over the place, you know, literally around the world on Zoom. But before that, we were really gonna go all over the place. And so our comfort zone is San Jose, California.
Right.
And so we started doing shows in San Francisco and in Oakland and all this, you know, just in the Bay, just hot spots in the Bay where there's open mics and we can meet new people, see different people we've never seen before, you know, whatever, network, have fun. And we were in San Francisco one time, and there was this dude that was like crouching between two cars, like, and you know, we're not really like there all the time, so we don't see this kind of stuff all the time. And there's a dude crouching between two cars, and we thought that he was trying to break into a car, looking for waiting for people to leave to break into cars, and
he kept going like this, waiting for us to walk away.
So he spooked off. He spooked and he ran away. And apparently he was taking a shit.
Yeah.
I came back to it.
Yeah. So when we came back on the corner. There was a big old shit up behind our car.
Like, oh, okay.
Well, I guess it's better than what could have happened, right?
That is both a couple's comedy story and a San Francisco story at the same time, because that's what San Francisco has. That's what happens in San Francisco.
You should tell that story in like in a British accent. It'll sound like you're like narrating some wildlife. Like,
I didn't have to be reenacted in the background.
Oh my goodness.
I wanted to say real quick. I love. I've been to some of Athena shows and some of Sam's shows, and you guys are both great hosts. So like Sam, in between comedians, like you always have like a brand new joke that's really funny, like every single time, and you make like a. You have like a repertoire with the comedians, so you do like inside jokes that are pretty great. And you guys are great as hosts. When the pandemic's over, are you guys gonna plan to like promote like live shows together or anything like that? Or yeah.
So I didn't really know you pre-pandemic, but pre-pandemic we were doing showcases at Tommy T's in Pleasanton.
Oh yeah, right on.
So I was working there as security. And so, hey, I know management, right?
Yeah.
But I ended up getting a showcase there. And so we did one in December of 19. And then we did one in February of 20. And then we had two more on the calendar for 2020. But I mean, they didn't happen. But yeah, we were getting like, we were gearing up, man. We were taking off. We had two live showcases under our belt. And we were just going to take it from there and just the sky's the limit.
Right on.
Now that you mentioned, I remember you called that hypothetical comedy as well.
Yeah. That's our
And
brand.
there's a story. Ed said there's a story behind that name.
Yeah, so it's funny because the other couple before us was saying how like sometimes it's better not to know that they're a couple because they look at the other person, So Athena had a joke where she talks about her boyfriend. I was her boyfriend at the time. Her boyfriend cheating on her, and then the punchline is that it was with a guy, right? And so people always would razz me like, oh, like this one comic, Birdman, he always goes, "Those what they call them, funky."
It's their favorite joke. They love
It's
it.
all the comment that they line up for it.
Yeah.
And so it came down to the point where wherever I was, no matter who was next to me, when she would start telling that joke, I would lean in and go, "It's a hypothetical situation." Right? I didn't know, right? And so one day we're at the San Jose Improv, and when you're doing like a big show, they're like, "What's your intro? What's your intro?" And so I came up with some bullshit like, "Hey, say this, whatever." It doesn't really matter. And then it was a special night because like between Athena and I, we brought hella people. We brought a lot of people that night, and so a lot of people knew us in the audience. And so Athena was before me, and I was gonna go next, and I was back, behind the curtain, and she was ending it with her cheating boyfriend joke. That was her closer. So I told the host, I said, "Forget everything I told you. What I want you to say is, this next comic wants me to tell you that the joke about Athena's cheating boyfriend is a hypothetical situation," and it fucking killed. The roof blew off the building that night, like for that one when she said that. And so hypothetical was that was just kind of our thing from there. Like we really liked it, and when we decided to get back into comedy in 2019, our idea was to do like a troupe, like a team. Like we're hypothetical comedy. We're a team. We're hypothetical comedy. But it kind of evolved into our showcase, and then just now it's our overall brand.
It's excellent. Well, actually, I was going to say as we wrap up here, I was going to say, you guys, if anyone's, people that are watching this, comedians or just comedy fans, Funky Sam and Athena have this hypothetical comedy now as a Facebook group with thousands, I believe, of people on there now, and it's a big performance now, production. So I think I've already done this at one time in the past, but I'll post it again to promote it. But is there anything else that you guys want to plug or promote as far as shows coming up that you want people to see?
We're doing a showcase on the 27th of February. It's a Saturday.
Okay.
Saturday, February 27th. Sign up at hypotheticalcomedy.com. You go in there and you give us, you put your email address in there, and we'll send you the Zoom link and stuff. And it's a solid lineup. We got Winston Hodges, who produced his own. He produced his own special. And then we have Chelsea Bierce, who's a national headliner.
Yep.
She's amazing. We have Gary Hughes, who's out of San Francisco as well, and he's really funny. He's awesome. And we have April Calger, who was featured on a Amazon Prime stand-up video.
And by the way, we have Esperanza Colon writing in, hypothetical comedy has become the hangout for me. Sam and Athena are thebomb.com. She writes.
Yeah.
Don't click that link, guys. It might be malicious.
Well, guys,
and Melanie, don't forget the comment from Melanie too. Melanie loves you too.
That's right. She writes, "Love you too." Yeah, Melanie Calabrese writes.
Shout out to Barry.
Guys, give it up for Sam and Athena for coming on the show. Finally, great to have them on. And this is an important thing I have to mention when we do these shows. I don't know if you guys know this, but we do have people that actually pay to promote the Tommy Feldman Happy. We have sponsors, and it's not an easy thing getting sponsored, but there is one man. There's one man who can get it done, and that man is before you now. It's Eric Newton, you guys. Give it up for Eric.
Hey. Hey. What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing this week? Yeah, this show is fantastic. The show has been one of the most fun I've ever been a part of, and that's for real. That's from the heart. That's not written on a prompt in front of me at all. And what I want to say now, today we have two new sponsors this week, and they're both very related to Valentine's Day. So let's just go ahead and start this off. Our first sponsor this week is 1-800-Flowers. Yeah, you guys remember that service? They're very well known. They're very well known for their flower delivery service. But this year they want to try something new. Like you ever think about like you know how like In-N-Out has like a secret off menu, like you tell them certain words and they make you like a new meal out of nowhere. Well, 1-800-Flowers is starting a new service where they do the same thing. Okay, it works like you can order like different flower arrangements and plants straight from their company. They have them delivered to you. So how it works is you just text 1-800-Flowers, your name, your address, and then you follow that with the numbers 420, right? And then after that, about 30 minutes to an hour, you know, a guy shows up at your house and he arrests you for drug trafficking. It's gonna be a great service. I think it's only gonna fly in the red states, so maybe Baltimore. All right, and so our last new sponsor for the week is technical difficulties. Here we go. Okay, I'm back in character. Our last new sponsor for this week is AM/PM. Okay, I don't know if you guys are anything like me. Oh, I think of Valentine's Day. I definitely think of AM/PM. I mean, come on, it's like your one-stop shop for everything. You can get everything you need for Valentine's Day. Okay. And fill up your gas. You know what I'm saying? On Valentine's Day, a half an hour before your date, you go to AM/PM. You're like, let me get $17 on number 3. Let me get this box of chocolates. These roses that died like 3 days ago. And you know what? Why don't you throw in some pizza roll and condoms and a pack of smokes, and you're done. You have a perfect night. So I just want to say thank you, AM/PM, for looking out for us, you know, award-winning procrastinators. We need you. They're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And those are the sponsors for this week's Tommy Feldman Happy Hour, everybody.
Right.
Hey.
Eric, every week coming up with amazing sponsors. Unbelievable. All right. So let's move over to our next couple here. Let me figure out how to remove that spotlight and put on the other one. If I can, let's see here. So guys, let's see. Add spotlight. Add Steve. Add Lesley, and let's remove.
There we go.
Here we go. All right, we are all on the screen, guys. Give it up for Steve, Etchie, and Lesley Joe for coming on the show.
Yeah.
Welcome. Wow.
We are together. He got me these AirPods, and we're actually doing an experiment because I can't get him on any Zoom call otherwise. So we're trying to see how this works to make him happy.
Well, looks like you've got the setup here behind Steve. It looks like you have some serious equipment, and like your background there, Lesley. You guys.
I've got the green screen out here.
Got it all going on. Well, this is our first time meeting as well. So
yes,
have an opportunity for you to just introduce yourselves, what kind of background you have in comedy, and of course how you met. And let's start there.
Well, my background in comedy started like 5 years ago almost. And I met Steve Etchie through podcasting. I started running comedy shows in Orlando because I couldn't get a hosting spot. So I found a brewer who was from my hometown, who was this really badass chick, and she let me run a showcase at her bar. And like, I got to be a good host, and I ran a pretty good open mic, and I wanted to make it so I would get to know people from out of town. And then I became friends with him, and he was involved in podcasting. So I ended up actually doing a podcast with him, but we were just friends. But he was always interested in going to my shows, so he would come with me, and like I was oblivious to the fact that he was trying to date me. But
so you don't do observational comedy, is what you're saying.
I'm oblivious. But
by the way,
what? Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, which by the way, I'm very I care about her so much, to the fact that this mustache is her idea. It's not mine.
He doesn't have to.
So Steve, you started. Okay, so I get. So Steve was doing podcasting, and
I started podcasting 11 years ago.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
And then so Leslie's been doing comedy for longer, it sounds like, and then you started doing comedy a little bit later. Is that right?
Well, he doesn't
No,
do comedy.
I don't do comedy. Well, here's the thing is that, I've always thought like that'd be really fun. You know what I mean? But I never did it because I was always afraid to, as anybody can do a test. Even those that do it regularly know that before they did it regularly, it's terrifying.
Yeah.
And, and so I loved, doing comedy, literally just like off the cuff, just talking, like that was a lot more my style. So I did it for a long time. And then, I started a network, and then my business partner was like, hey, we got this beer podcast that we want to start. Can you go and talk to them and see what's going on and everything? So I met with her and the host, Ed. Well, I will tell you this too. There's not a lot of females in podcasting, and I was like, oh, beer podcast, that's good. Like, I mean, those are really relatable. They get a lot of views, whatever, And I was like, okay, that's
only
cool.
shows I would do any shows were with craft breweries
We're with breweries,
craft beer
yes.
bars. It was all craft centric. So, I mean, it kind of worked out.
If you can get a woman that loves beer, go for it.
I got it. So you guys complement each other, because Steve comes from the podcasting realm. You do funny podcasts. You're funny on your podcast. That's where you prefer to sort of be creative. And Lesley, you're stand-up. Like, that's your favorite thing to do. Although you do podcasting too, it sounds like. But your first love is stand-up, I'm assuming.
Well, podcasting has kept me alive this last year, though, because I had legitimately 2/3 of the year booked out, and I had this entire year planned to go around and be like, I have made every move of my last 3 years in accordance to this goal, and I felt like I had no idea who I was anymore, and it was really, really devastating. But and I never expected to spend so much time with this guy.
But yeah, well, and then it further entwined because she does comedy shows, and then I started doing the sound for the comedy shows.
Yeah. So all the people that came to my shows, I ran shows all over Central Florida, but he would be there for all of them, and everybody loved him. And all my fans got to know him. So, and in his podcast world, it's almost like his fans accepted me as much as my fans accepted him.
Do you share fans, and do you sort of like, commingle your fan bases?
I would say so.
I would say
unless we do
definitely.
something shitty to each other.
Yeah, I would say definitely. And the other thing too, by the way, like, I'm not a stand-up comic, but the thing is even that was like the ultimate thing, like a female comic, like, oh, that's like a male like rock singer to a woman to me, like, where I'm just like, oh, it's I'm very intimidated by it.
Well, nowadays, like you pointed out, Lesley, like with the pandemic and everything, sort of the lines are blurring anyway between what is a comedy show, what is a podcast. I mean, it's all kind of just coming together one thing. I mean, like, I'm doing this talk show. I thought I was doing a Zoom comedy show, and now people are referring to this as a podcast. So I don't know. It sounds like we're all just doing the same thing. Do you guys collaborate on any kind of creative works, like whether it be sketches or specific podcast themes or anything like that?
Well, we've done commercials, like just fake jokey commercials and stuff. Well, actually, some of them weren't fake. We actually did it for some of the places that she was, doing. But it was fun to bring out the audio production and do like sound effects and do all sorts of stuff like that. So we did a lot of like fun, we did some like fun commercials for different bars that she would do the things for, and we're looking to do a lot more of that.
We've had a lot of the local comics on our show. Like Ben Brainerd is a local comic who has really taken off lately, and I just can't say enough good things about him. But like, we would create these shows. Like, I remember giving Ben his his first 20-minute spot, and he had notes, and he just killed it. And I just remember us growing up like that in comedy, and that's really, I just like giving people spots. I really just like giving people that opportunity from out of town that I miss it. I really do. I did a show the other day that was just like an empty bar. It was Showcase, and I was like, I'm not mad. Actually, this makes me really miss the good old days.
Yeah. Excellent. Well,
but we have a lot of good talent, and I love to just make it so it's for the talent. It's not about the bookers. I don't know. I just love it. in the like minuscule small arena that we have it.
You guys, so I guess a friend of yours, Jonah Lenius, right? Steve. Okay, good.
Really?
So
Oh, that's awesome.
I just heard him outside.
So I wanted to give you guys also a chance to promote some things towards the end. Now that we're coming to the end here, is there a sort of specific maybe Steve, you want to plug your podcast? Lesley, maybe you want to promote some shows?
We do have a couple's logo for our podcast. So like we didn't start our podcast together. He invited me on his podcast and then we both became hosts because that's something that I needed. And now we're both hosts. So we have a logo that's my head and his body. Okay. And it's really, I feel like I have always needed a couple's logo to feel confident in my relationship.
Yeah. Our friends describe it as really creepy.
Okay. Well,
but it's called Tidbits.
Tidbits. Okay, I see in the background you have the Tidbits background. All right, well that's the name of the podcast. So we'll put that in the show homepage and promote it for you guys. So
thank you.
Give it up for Steve and Lesley for coming on the show.
And I do run a monthly show in Sanford on the third Thursday of every month. I am not heavily promoting it because I do feel like until we can all be vaccinated and live in a more safe world, I'm not going to try to promote a show. Okay. I let people know that
you don't want to pack
know
it out
about it.
Got it.
Exactly. So the third Thursday, if you're an out-of-towner and you're funny, please hit me up on Facebook Messenger. Just tell me that you heard me through this show. Otherwise, I have a very hard time responding.
Yeah, and the website for my network is pftmedia.com. It used to be PFFT for, but I was told it should be shortened.
All right.
So it stands for nothing.
Again, guys, give it up for Steve and Lesley.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us.
Now, before we head over to the couples comedy quiz, I did notice that one of our very special guests, regulars, Nico Lukoff, appears to be with us this evening. So, now, Nico, we're short on time a little bit here, but I did want to give you a chance to maybe check in with some Zoom comedy.
Yeah, you know what? I'll just be quick on this. You guys know where there's a list. There's a lot of mics. Hit them all up. Athena and Sam's is awesome. It's a lot of fun. Sometimes talk about tips, and this thing just came up the other day on a show that I did that I just felt like it might be helpful to share. So when you're doing Zoom and you're doing your stuff and you're like, every time I say this line, it gets a laugh, especially when everyone else laughs at these lines. Like, you know the formula when you're doing a show, like everyone's hitting on these. If they do, they're gonna hit this. You hit that, and nothing happens. And that happened on the Zoom I was on, and it had it happen a while ago where I totally ate it because I just let it consuming. There's other things going on, but on this one I didn't. But I was like, is everyone looking in the chat? Like, what just happened? Is anything going on? And then you just keep going and just keep plowing through it. And it seems like it's obvious, but it's something I realized I kind of need to be conscientious of, especially maybe even more on Zoom. And then I found out later, I was taking the host. Hey, thanks for having me on the show. The producer he threw me on the last minute. It was just, and I had a really good time, and everything else on it went really well. And he's like, hey, sorry about that background noise. I'm like, oh, I didn't hear any background noise, but cool, thanks. I didn't really think of it. And then I was watching the show again, watching the clips, and I want to see everyone else's set too, and just kind of see mine for notes and stuff. And then I realized at that moment when I just had finishing up a bit that usually just hits really hard, especially if everything else was working, it was just nothing. And at the moment I was a little confused. I just kept going through it and pretending like that was normal. And that was when like they're just and it's just like, I said this before, a bag of chips can heckle you on Zoom. Like anything that happens, if someone just does something like this, it's just what happens. And just my feedback for you, if you're doing these, just, do your stuff and don't pause and like start seeming like you're worried. Because once I see people start worrying and start complaining to the crowd or anything like that, it seems obvious to want to not do that. But when you're in the moment doing it, it kind of I think you kind of get pulled to that initially. And if you can avoid that, that's helpful, and that's going to make you better the next time, in my opinion. And that's my tip on Zoom.
All right. Well, thanks, guys. Give it up for Nico for the tip of the day. Remember, if your joke doesn't land, it could be the joke sucks, but it could also be technical difficulties on Zoom. So something to think about. All right, you guys, we're getting towards the end of the hour here, and and I see. Well, Sarish was back from. Sarish, maybe you want to wave hello, everybody. Hey, Sarish is here as well.
Yeah, Tommy.
We're doing a different quiz tonight, Sarish. We're doing the couples comedy quiz, and we're going to do it a newlywed game style, where we're going to ask the couples to write down answers to questions, keep it concealed, and then we will go and review the answers, and we'll see how many points. Does someone want to be a point keeper? Maybe.
That's exciting.
Sarish, you want to be the point keeper?
Yeah, I can do that, Tommy.
Okay, so I'll announce when someone gets a point. So, all right, so let's start. So I read it. I studied up a little bit on the newlywed game, and apparently the easiest thing is just to go with the basic questions and just see what happens. But I did want to add a comedy theme to it. So the first question for both of you, I want you to write your answers down on a piece of paper and seal it, or fold it in half so the other person can't see it. Is couples, what would you say is your partner's favorite comedian? It can only be one person. Partner's favorite comedian. Who is your partner's favorite comedian? And of course, you're not allowed to write down my name or Ed's name. Even though Ed's mom is watching, apparently. Ed's mom just checked in and said, Edward Rubin's mom says hi to all. So say hi to mom. And what does less than 3 mean? Less than 3. Oh, that's a smile, isn't it?
That's a heart. A heart. Yeah. I know it's what all the kids are doing.
Yeah, you know how to text, Ed. That's great. Okay, and couples that we are thumbs up. We all wrote down our answers. Thumbs up, thumbs up. Looks like Kayla, Tony, you guys, thumbs up. Kayla, you wrote yours down, and Lesley, you wrote yours down. All right.
We need Ed to get like a buzzer.
Second question. Second question. Let's do all the questions, and then we'll go and we'll do all the reveals. All right. So the second question is, what is your partner's favorite thing to eat after a performance, after a hard performance? They come home or they're done with the performance, they want to eat something. Even though Ed's mom is watching, apparently, Ed's mom's show, whatever it is. But what is Ed's thing to eat? Go-to food after a performance, after a hard performance. They come home or they're done with the performance, want to eat something.
Everyone's answer better be bacon wrapped hot dogs.
Bacon wrapped hot dogs.
That's the only winnable answer in my book.
I do like a good hot dog after a show, though. I gotta tell you.
Oh yeah.
You notice Eric is in a couple here, right?
You don't know that. I have a cat. What up, man? I can answer questions.
Ed's writing really fast right now.
and Etchie has no idea.
And while they're writing, Ed, what's your favorite thing to eat after?
I have a joke idea.
Besides that, let me see. Probably Krispy Kreme donut.
Ooh. Classic American, old American fare there with the donut after the show. Nico and Eric, and what about you guys? What do you like to eat after the show?
I like tacos. I often have some tacos. I don't need to explain it more than that, do I? No, tacos.
Yeah, if anyone's ever watched your Instagram, Facebook feed, they'll know that you eat tacos on a regular basis.
Yeah. I get one Taco Wednesday. I get a tray of them. And
Eric, what about you? What do you like to eat after a good show?
My favorite thing to eat after doing a set is my favorite thing to eat at any time of the day. Cup noodles. Can you guys see that?
Ramen noodles.
Yeah, dude. It's like, I've MacGyvered ways to fix a cup of cup noodles. It's amazing. You can eat it anywhere. It's portable. I mean, I can go on. But it's shrimp flavor, cup noodles, #1 by far.
Yes. Ramen after our show, I will point out, is also the favorite of every Japanese person. I used to live in Japan, and that is the go-to late night food. And Sarish, what about you? What do you like to eat after?
I can't believe nobody said pizza, Tommy.
Yeah.
I'm eating a slice of pizza right now.
There you go. It is your favorite. Okay.
Man.
Nice.
All right, couples,
Hey, I had a question on a tray of tacos. Is that 3 tacos?
That's 20
Gotta be at
tacos.
least 3.
We got two more questions for
That's
the
3
couples.
bites.
Couples, where did your partner's worst bomb occur? What venue was the location of your partner's worst bomb? Your partner's worst bomb.
Oh.
Happened at.
Shit.
Write that down. Couples, write that down.
Any answer is going to be not a good answer.
That's the best answer.
Well, that's the point of the question, Athena. It's kind of like
Oh, I know.
acknowledging the bomb and documenting the bomb.
I have a mean joke for you, Tommy, since your wife is Japanese, right? That was a pretty big couple bombs.
Oh boy, I'm not going to repeat that. I am not going to repeat that. We'll keep that between us.
It's a history joke more than anything.
Yes.
I laughed harder than I should have.
I respect that.
I respect that for you guys. Couples, are you ready?
Heart laughs at what the heart laughs at.
Wait, I think they're still writing, you guys. Let's wait a minute. Oh, and Nooper Sahai writes chocolate. No one here needs sugar to wash off the bombing. I'm with Nooper. I do like a good chocolate after a show. That's for sure. Chocolate ice cream, a chocolate donut, maybe.
I mean, Ed said donuts. That's sugary.
Sweets are really good for sure after a show. I'm with you there. All right. Last question for the couples. I'm assuming they've all written down their responses. Is the converse of the previous question, if I may be so erudite and academic as to say that, the best performance. What was the venue of the best performance where they absolutely killed it to the point where you are my love, and there's a reason for that. Absolutely crush it. The best crushing performance. What venue would you say it was at? And I'm hoping you don't write Zoom comedy because that would be sad.
That she crushed it at the Tommy Feldman happy hour.
That counts. Today, you could write today.
Oh, yeah.
Here.
Well,
I thought she did very well,
And it says here, Ed better say the Pink Flamingo.
I have to say, I think it was probably at the Pink Flamingo.
Chris Caffey writes
in Monterey.
And I think we are ready for our responses. Maybe they're still writing. Okay, Sam and Athena's ready. Steve is ready. He looks ready. Leslie's ready, and Kayla and Tony are ready. Okay, so let's go back to our first question, which was partner's favorite comedian. All right, so let's start with Kayla and Tony. Kayla, let's start with you. Who did you say was Tony's favorite comedian?
Wait,
do I answer first?
You do not answer. You stay quiet, and Kayla's gonna respond, and we're gonna see if I'm doing this right.
Yeah.
Kayla, you're gonna try to. I'm sorry, I'm doing it wrong.
Guess what Tony says.
You should say him.
I'm doing it wrong. I am so. I look stupid. I just made.
Tommy and I don't get out much.
It's a really nice way to do it.
But hey, for the sake of comedy, so we'll call him. You're right. I'm doing this all wrong. I should ask Tony who he said was his favorite comedian, and then Kayla shows up her sign. That's what we should have done in the first place. Let's rewind that. Okay, Tony, who would you say is your favorite comedian?
All right. If I had to think about it, I have to say Maria Bamford is my favorite comedian.
Maria Bamford is your comedian. And Kayla, hope your sign. It says David Sedaris.
Oh.
Yeah.
Both are good. Both are good.
Right.
Yeah,
both
are good.
I've been reading a lot of books.
Like a humorist,
by him.
right? He's David Sedaris is not a pure stand-up, but still comedian is comedian. All right, Kayla, how about you? Who is your favorite comedian?
Kristen Wiig.
Kristen
is my
Wiig.
favorite.
Yeah.
Kristen Wiig. Saturday Night Live, right? Okay.
Yeah, she's brilliant, and her movie, Welcome to Me, that she wrote and stuff. I love it, and I just think she's amazing. Yeah.
So good. So good.
All right.
So good.
Tony, let's hold up your answer. Your response was? Can't see it.
Oh, you gotta hold it
Oh,
closer.
my bad. Mike Birbiglia.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, it says Mike Birbiglia. Oh, Mike Birbiglia. Okay.
Oh.
I was thinking stand up.
I do have the book right here.
He's like looking around the room for answers.
All right. Well, so
they look into his Netflix history. What you watched last? All right, I'm gonna go with that.
Research, real quick.
Yeah.
okay.
This is
Let's
fun.
go
I
with
like
Sam
this.
and Athena next. So, Athena, who is your favorite comedian?
Eddie Izzard.
Oh, nice.
Izzard.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Sam, who did you guess? Let's hold up your sign.
Well, we saw her twice live.
Upside down.
Upside down, but I can see it. All right, Surish, 1 point.
Hey.
1 point.
Nice.
Did I just hear a sound effect? Who was that?
That was me.
Yeah.
Found the sound effect. Yeah.
That's how my fire alarm was.
Racking up the points.
Okay, Sam, who is your favorite comedian?
100% Mitch Hedberg.
Mitch
Oh,
Hedberg.
nice.
Athena wrote.
Mitch Hedberg.
Mitch Hedberg.
Oh, yeah.
2 points.
Yeah.
2 points. Surish, make a notation.
That's what's up.
They actually like
San Jose. Keeping it in the Bay Area. All right. Let's go with Lesley next. Lesley, who is your favorite comedian?
My favorite is Joan Rivers.
Nice.
Joan Rivers, old school. And Steve wrote Joan Rivers.
Oh, right on.
I am so shocked.
Hey.
Good job.
And Steve, who is your favorite comedian?
I was gonna say, to be fair, I have a whole wealth of. She talks about Joan Rivers all the time. I got the easy answer. Currently, my favorite comedian is Tommy Jonigan.
Tommy Jonathan?
Jonigan.
Jonigan, okay.
I have a thing. It's Paul F. Tompkins. I thought was his.
I love Paul. That's just the thing, though. Is I'm one of those people. Whenever you mention a name, I go, "Oh, I love that person." It's.
I know.
Just really
There's no
quickly,
clear
Ed, who's your favorite? Who's your favorite comedian, Ed?
Steve Martin.
Steve
Nice.
Martin. Old
Oh,
school.
yeah.
Love it. Eric, what about you? Who's your favorite comedian?
I'd probably go Patrice O'Neal. I love
Patrice
Patrice.
O'Neal. Yeah, also old school.
Nice.
Excellent. Surish, what about you?
I also go for like an old timer, Tommy. It's you, Tommy.
I am old. That's true. I'm not as old as Steve Martin and Patrice O'Neal, but I am old school. All right. Next question. So we got 2 and 2 and 0, but you know,
was it
Tony
2,
Kayla,
1 and
you
0?
guys, I'm feeling
Yeah,
like
1 and 0.
There was a 1 and
like
0.
you guys can just nail this thing next. So
He didn't screw it up.
let's go to let's keep the same order then. All right. So Kayla, what did you say is your favorite thing to eat after a performance?
Oh, my favorite thing. Well, I only wrote his, so I got to think for a second because I don't know. So many foods.
Is there something around the house?
What do you like to eat after a show?
After a show.
What was the last thing? you ate?
Probably something fried. I don't know. A burger? A
burger.
burger?
Okay.
A burger.
Yeah.
Tony, what do you got? What's your response? What'd you write? Pho. Pho.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good
Pho.
I
choice.
do like that.
Oh man. Okay. Well, Tony, what about you?
Okay.
Maybe you can tell me what you like to eat after.
You know, I'm thinking about accessibility, you know, late night after a show. I got to say burrito.
Burrito.
Ooh,
Good choice.
I was close. I said tacos.
Tacos.
Oh yeah. Dude.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna give him a
Judges
point.
are harsh.
Close.
You should
Judges
give him a
are
point on
harsh.
that.
Close, but there's no rice in the taco.
What are tacos but tiny burritos?
I feel like if you can get the food at the same place, even if it's not the same food, they should get a point, right? It's like it's the same store you would go to. All right. Yeah.
Like a half a point.
The same ingredients.
Same ingredients, right? Yeah.
You guys are so
Chicken
nice.
sandwich, not
All right. Well, spiritually, we'll give you the point. But,
Spiritually?
yes. You
Don't say I never did nothing for you guys.
Good looking out.
Sam, what did you say is your favorite thing to eat after performance?
My favorite thing to eat after performance would probably be tacos as well.
Tacos. Good
Yeah.
choice. All right. Athena, what did you write?
I wrote burgers.
Oh,
Nice.
that's okay.
All right.
burger
Okay. Athena, what about you? What do you like to eat after a show?
Tacos.
A lot of talk. You guys should hang out with
Yeah. Tacos.
All right.
Good job, Sam.
We got
Way to live another day.
Hell yeah.
I'll just say, if anyone says ground beef tacos, you lose the whole game. It's over.
Automatic fail.
Okay, Lesley, let's go to you. Your favorite thing to eat after performance is?
I usually don't eat after performance. Like if somebody wants to have a drink with me or buy me a shot, that's what I'm down for. But I've eaten beforehand.
What would Steve? What would Steve have written then? Put it that
Okay,
way.
Probably a drink after the show.
Well, no,
Okay,
because I feel like I had to choose a food, but she is right. We eat before, but whenever whenever she's got a lot done, you know what I mean. Like, and she's hungry. I got this.
Steak and shake. Steak and shake.
Yeah.
That's like a burger joint,
that'll
right?
work.
Look, I wrote broccoli at first before realizing that was a really bad idea. But
I never want to eat broccoli after I get off stage.
But it's one of those things. Like I have videos, so many videos of her eating broccoli.
I did send you a lot.
Yeah, she would go to a restaurant,
Are they
order
on
broccoli,
OnlyFans
film
now?
herself eating it, and then send it to me. And so broccoli is very dear to my heart.
Broccoli is delicious, but it's probably something you would not want to eat before a show.
No, not before, no.
Because it is one of those, dense green breakfast kind of guys.
Yeah. But when we're both feeling weary and we've done a lot, we go to Steak and Shake generally.
Yeah, and if I'm hosting a show, I usually try not to get loaded, and afterwards I'm like, let's go.
And Nupur Sahai writes, okay, I am hungry now. Something that's all right. So this is working, you guys. We are getting the audience engaged. Getting them hungry.
The Adderall helps.
He writes also, drink after a show. I heard on the news COVID ended tonight. Okay, so let's go get some bars. All right, next question was about the worst bomb story or the worst venue, the venue of the worst bomb. This was a little bit of a harder question, but let's go back to our friends from Oregon. So Tony, what did you say was your worst bomb, the venue for your worst bomb?
My venue probably a place called Front Street Bar and Grill.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's an open mic, but there's just usually like a couple of drunk people at the bar that heckle you the whole time. So it's a very tough venue. It's definitely so yeah, I've eaten shit there once or twice.
Okay, Kayla, what did you write? Let's see if you wrote Front Street.
Well, I wrote something different.
Oh, great.
I wrote at the Yard Food Park.
Yard Food.
We agreed to do like a children's show, and we were characters and we did songs with a friend, and Tony's his little guy Calvin is 4 and he was crying the whole time, so half the time he was just holding a kid and wasn't even doing anything. It was beautiful.
I'd say my son bombed. I did great.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a combined effort.
Where was your worst bomb, would you say?
Me?
Mm-hmm.
Probably at Capitol. Wait, hold on. Let me think about this really quick.
What would Tony have said was your worst bomb?
What would he say?
Is your worst bomb?
At Capital City Theater.
Capital City Theater. All right, Tony, you
now
wrote
Infinity Room.
Okay.
I really hate Front Street Bar, I guess.
Horrible. Everybody bombs at Front Street. Sounds a lot like
Yeah.
Woodham's in the Bay Area. Very different.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay, all right. Well,
What is that place called?
Woodham's in the Bay Area. We have a place called Woodham's, which is an
Okay.
open mic famous for drunk heckling. So
Oh, note to self.
It's
Avoid
also very
Woodham's.
good.
Woodham's.
Yeah, Woodham's is good.
Okay, so let's go to Sam and Athena again. So Athena, your worst bomb location was
Britannia Arms, downtown San Jose.
Britannia Arms. Okay, I know that place.
I
Britannia.
love that place.
All right, and Sam wrote down
Say-
the Britannia. That the same thing?
Oh wow.
Yeah, the
Yes.
Brit downtown San Jose.
You
In
guys,
fact, in fact, I wrote a second vote for it actually for this question, and it's I have a story about a whale.
guys, I was so drunk by the time I got to go.
Oh man.
Whale joke out of me for nothing.
She said about 12 times on stage that she had a story about a whale, and that was the end of her set.
Great premise, though.
Hard for life.
All right,
Hey,
Sam,
is it
what did you say was your worst venue?
This was hard because I've bombed a lot. I would also say the Brit downtown San Jose. She probably didn't put that because she sounds surprised. But there was a night where there was these drunk frat boys in there, and they were just like talking hella shit about me, and they were like right in the front, and I could hear them. And I was super new to comedy, and so I just kind of kept doing my set, whatever, and I was like just horrified. But the next day I went to the Purple Onion in San Francisco, which is like a venue, and I heard somebody in the audience say, "This guy is so funny," and so I was like, okay, I'll respect that over some drunk frat dude in the fucking open mic.
There you go, karma.
Yeah, I
Balances out.
You didn't put that though, apparently. I mean, there's a lot to choose from, you guys.
I put Plan B.
Oh, okay.
Very small venue.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
All right, well, you guys are still at 4 points, is it?
4 points. 4 points. Tom.
4 points for Sam and Athena. Okay, so let's see now. Lesley, what was your worst venue to bomb at, or your worst bombing venue?
I would say a nursing home in Palm Coast, Florida.
Oh, damn it!
He's like, oh hell yeah, it was. I forgot about that.
Let's see what.
I wasn't there for that, but it was amazing still.
It was at 1. It was at 1 p.m. and they had canceled bingo for comedy, and I found out as soon as I walked up. I hear, Marge, what are you doing? And she's like, they canceled bingo for comedy. And I was like, well, shit. So that it went over like a turd of punch bowl. And my boyfriend doesn't do stand-up comedy, so this whole section is gonna be a big fat.
Yeah,
for
that's
us,
true.
But like,
you're right.
just enjoy it.
I've majorly failed on podcasts before, I'm sure. Well, you know what? No, I haven't.
Wait, what did you say was my worst bomb though?
This is one I wasn't here for. Well, here's the thing. This is the weird thing. Is like, I go to all these shows, and usually when you bomb, like a lot of people do, like the crowd was not great.
Okay,
this is one This is one I was not here for, but just based on what you're talking about. Okay.
That shitty barbecue place. Absolutely. Yes. No, I did absolutely bomb on 9/11. It was horrible.
Oh man. I mean,
it was on September 11th. It was terrible.
It must have been epic. It must have been epic. He wasn't even there, and he heard about how bad it was. I mean, that's kind of commendable in a way, right? And in a way, that's something.
Yeah, but when you hear about a venue from multiple people, and she was the first person I heard from this venue, but like since then I've heard from several. When they're like, you have never been to that venue before, you're like, dude, don't go. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was one of those.
So, Steve, I know you said you don't bomb because you're doing podcasting, but do you have any thoughts on what Lesley might have written on her piece of paper?
Yeah.
I know it. I know.
I really don't. Oh, did you? I want to know.
Did you write something? Okay.
He laughs
that we lose this point. I want to know the answer.
He laughs at everything. I think everything is funny because of this motherfucker. He thinks everything I think is funny, and I lose all understanding of reality because he laughs at everything.
You know what? That's absolutely true. We had a show at like I don't remember where it was. I don't remember the name of the place, but like basically like a whole bunch of comics that we knew from tons of different times, talking to them and stuff like that. You know, like we know them really well or whatever, and they're going and they're like, the crowd was not laughing. There was not much of a crowd. And I remember this girl, Veronica, turned around and saw me and was like, oh, thank God. Because I'm going to laugh my ass off at almost everything. It is genuine. It's not me just like, no, I uncontrollably laugh. And she's just like, great, get your ass in the audience right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now we all want to marry you, Steve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We all want
I hire you to be at all my
Lesley,
shows.
just out of curiosity, what did you write though?
That's what I wrote. That he laughs at everything. That's kind of a bomb, I think. Like,
all right, you know,
Man, that was deep. That was philosophical.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yes.
relationships are fun. Oh, also, I really don't think it's a good idea for most people to date comedians. I really don't.
well,
Like
I was even
comedians to
thinking
date
about
comedians.
it at one point, and she's like, "Oh, I'd never date a comedian," and I'm like, "That's not what I'm doing."
No, I mean, I did date comedians before, but if he started to do stand up, I think I don't know. I don't know if I do.
all right. Well, we'll give you
least you know
another
where she draws the
we'll give you a spiritual point for not an actual point. Let's go.
What is that, like a half?
Let's
Like
go.
a half?
Like I said, we'll make it a notation in your notes.
This is the most fun I've ever had.
All right, let's get to the last question, the opposite question, which is the best performance. And apologies to Lesley and Steve because that's going to be a hard one for them too. But
Oh yeah.
let's go back to Kayla and Tony. This is where your partner did it, where you really nailed it. You crushed it. Okay, so this is, you probably would remember this, as we all comedians do remember where they really crushed it. So Kayla, what about you? Do you remember a place where you nailed it? And yeah.
Yes, of course I do. I did a set the night before my birthday last year at the Space in Salem, and the people loved me. They were coming up to me afterwards and they were like, you should be on. This lady was following me around and telling me I should be on television, and I was feeling myself for sure. It was a really good night. It was really fun. The audience was great, and it was it was packed, but it was a really intimate room. Like people were really close, and I played some music and I did a set, and it was like, it felt so good. And then shortly after, the pandemic.
Tony, what did you write down? Did you write down the Space? Let's see what you wrote.
I wrote down the Space.
All right.
Yeah. Got one.
Got one. All right. And Tony, what about you? What's your best crushing performance venue?
I'm gonna have to say Capital City Theater, because it's our home venue, it's our home club, and I've had a couple of my bigger shows there.
Mm-hmm.
And
all right.
And so yeah, I'm gonna say Capital City Theater.
Okay.
One of those.
Kayla, what did you write down?
Yeah, I was bartending at the time, and I was pouring someone's drink, and it overflowed because he was so funny. I was watching him. I was not paying attention. So yeah, I got it right.
All right, 2 points. All right, so you guys really came back here at the end. All right, let's go to Sam.
That saved our relationship.
Yeah.
Sam, what do you say is the best place for you?
Oh man. There's so what you're saying is the time when I didn't bomb, right?
This is the opposite. This is where you crushed it.
I don't know if we're gonna match, but when we first came back into comedy in 2019, I was booked onto the show that was this. It was like a private party in a backyard. It was an outdoor show before outdoor shows were cool. And, there was close to 100 people there, and right as my set started, the power went out, and There was a lot of variables that were working against me, but by the time the power came back on, I really I did well. It was just a lot of laughter, and I felt like I'm back. I'm doing this again.
So this is just an
I forget what city it was. It was on a ranch.
Okay.
It was only time they called me on a ranch. It was on a ranch. On the ranch.
The ranch.
Ranch 99.
I don't know what the ranch was called, but I didn't pick it. I picked the San Jose Improv.
Okay. All right. And Athena, what about you? What do you think as your best performance?
I had a lot of really good sets too, but I would have to say I had a really, really amazing set at the San Jose Improv.
At the Improv? Okay.
I originally wrote the Improv, but I crumbled it up because you said a lot of, you put her in front of a lot of people and she's hilarious and she just like tears the roof down. But we did this show. Well, I wasn't even on it. I was just there at this one place. It was called Johnny's Bar. I don't remember that one was either.
Oh yeah.
And it was a small venue. There was like 20 people in the audience, but she did 15 minutes and she was shining and she was doing crowd work and everything was hitting. And it was like amazing. It was amazing. So excellent. I'll take the loss on that one, even though I think the first was Improv.
That's what's up. Right on.
All right.
Is that Johnny's Bar in Hollister?
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So Pete's show. Yeah.
Great. All right. So where are we now on the points? Suresh, I've kind of lost track.
We've got Sam and Athena at 4, Kyle and Tony at 2, and Steve and Lesley, I believe, at 2 also.
That sounds right. Or 3, or 2. Okay.
Or 3.
I guess we can. So I know this is going to be for you guys. It's a little bit different, but let's see. What about you? What did you say as your best?
I think that he put the Volusia bus tour.
The Volusia.
Oh, damn it!
No.
Did you put?
Okay,
know the answer.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Well, no. Okay. Well,
What is it?
She's
What
absolutely
was
right.
it?
Well, I was thinking of one particular thing. Now, first of all, she did really well at the Orlando Improv. But here's the big thing. To me, when you perform at the Improv, no matter what location it is, you're getting people that want comedy and are ready to laugh. You get people at a regular bar, they don't even know that they're coming. You know what I mean? And you've got a much smaller group, because I would say Improv because she did really well at Improv Orlando. But again, like at Improv Orlando, have you ever noticed, or Improv anywhere, you start to talk, your first joke, people laugh because that's what they're there for.
They're for, right.
At a bar, that's not what they're there for. So bar was, I got this one right here.
Abbey Bar.
Oh, I've had a lot of great sets there, but Abbey Bar is part of the bus tour. It works. He actually got it.
Yes. One of the stops was the Abbey Bar at the for that event.
If it weren't for Abbey Bar, I wouldn't be a show producer.
Steve, did you want to make a comment on what you thought Lesley wrote down as your best gig?
Probably a really good interview, or I don't know. That's where it gets weird.
Oh, come on, dig deep.
Dig deep. Okay. Okay. Wait. What was the question?
Your best.
Now I'm freaked out.
What did Lesley write?
My
down?
best.
Sort of your best performance, your best, gig.
5 points.
We'll give you an extra point. For this one.
Okay.
It definitely has to do with podcasting.
Yeah, of course. Chico's brain.
Nope.
Okay.
Oh man.
All right,
I
you
knew
guys.
it was a bad guess. But
Wait, what did Lesley say?
Lesley, what did you say?
Answer?
There was this time that we interviewed the owner of Dogfish Head, and Etchie corrupted the file somehow, and we were so disappointed. I was so angry, so hurt, upset, and this is before we were dating. And then he pulled it out. He fixed it. He came through like a producer magician, and I felt like I should always trust him, because he did his best to make our show happen. And I don't know, I thought that was the best save that any producer could ever do.
I did. You know what? I never would have guessed that, but I'm only half soft now. That's amazing. I love it.
Excellent. Well, that's a great way to end it on a positive note like that. I appreciate, couples helping each other out in the comedy space.
I feel like if I ever play this game, I'm gonna tell my partner what to say. Like, hey, when did Eric really crush it? She'll be like, that one time we had intercourse. So I'm like, there you go. That's my girl. That's my girl. She knows me.
And then I would say, you only had intercourse one time?
Hey, don't ask me more questions.
It was amazing.
This interview's over. Turn off his mic. Turn off his mic, Tom. Cut him off.
I was so tempted to give an answer like that, and then I was like, but no, I want to have sex again,
Hey, did you want to make a comment about your best performance?
I was probably at the Pink Flamingo.
Oh, nice. There we go.
Yeah. I heard about that one. I heard that was
no, it's a great place. If you ever get a chance, once everything opens up, go to the Pink Flamingo in Monterey.
Chris Caffrey wrote the Carl Cherry Center in Carmel, packed with 90-year-olds.
That was. I think she gave that answer when she was talking about bombing.
Oh, that was bombing. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm sure she had yeah.
Nupur Sahai wrote Capitol Hill. Is that? I guess that's one of your markets. And what about you, Suresh? You any stellar performance stories or places where you?
My best performance and my worst performance was in the same place for me. This place in San Francisco called Bar Fluxus.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think the last time after I've bombed, I've never gone back on stage. So about a year and a half, 2 years ago.
All right.
You gotta dust yourself off and get back up there, bro. It's all good.
Is everybody else here from California? Or living in California?
We're all the regulars, all the people on the show, we're all from the Bay Area. So
that's what I figured. Okay.
Yeah.
I visited there once. I love it. It's awesome.
Eric, what about you? Do you have any comment on best performance?
This is a true story. My very first, I will say what my favorite feeling after being on stage was. The first time I went up, there used to be this place called Brainwash in San Francisco. It was a laundry mat. Yeah. And so I went on Thursday night when Tony Sparks was hosting. And yeah, my very first set, like it was, I couldn't believe the feeling. He's like, the first time you went up, I was like, yeah. He's like, you killed it, man. He's like, but here's the rule: if you kill on your first time, you're gonna die your second time. And he was so right. He was absolutely a prophet. It was terrible the second time, but yeah, I'll never forget that, man. When I see Tony, he still remembers that. When I see him around town, I'm hell honored by that every time he. So yeah, that was my favorite feeling after getting off stage. You know, maybe I might have had technically funnier sets since then, but I'll never forget the way I felt that night, though. Yeah.
Excellent.
How about you, Tommy? You've been asking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know, Suresh, if you remember this, there's this comedian in the Bay Area. His name is Hung Ming Liu, and he had these shows where it was like the audience was half Chinese, people from China, and because I've studied Chinese and I speak a few words of Mandarin, I prepared some jokes with Mandarin in it, and I killed it. They were just so surprised to see a white guy speaking Mandarin. So I'll say I do really well with Chinese audiences because I have a secret weapon.
Have you ever been to China?
I've been to China, yes. Yeah. I used to live in Japan.
I went a couple of years ago.
And so that was a long time. I went to China in 94. So
I went in 2008.
Okay.
18.
Yeah, I went there before all the industrialization, but guys, this has been great. I mean, we just went through this. We're at 90 minutes, so we're gonna have to put this up to the YouTube, and so you can share it to all of your fans and stuff. We had a lot of people watching. Even towards the end here, we had still 7 people watching.
Woo.
So
good job, everybody.
Thanks for coming on. Thanks for coming on the show. If any of you guys want to come back, individually and sort of talk about your own comedy specifically for yourself, you're all welcome back anytime if you can make it. And we will be back, of course, next week on the 19th at 5 p.m. Pacific time. And you guys have a great Valentine's Day and a great holiday weekend, and stay safe, all the things you're supposed to say now during the pandemic. And thank you all. And this has been great. So can we have some outro? Do we have any outro music tonight?
Oh yes, I forgot about the outro music. I mean, what type of producer am I? I mean, you know, I'm gonna play
Thank you for having me. This has been so much fun.
Yeah,
we had a great time.
That was one of the best shows ever. I loved meeting everybody. You guys are great.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, if anybody's ever in Central Florida, hit me up. I have a show on the 3rd Thursday of every month in Sanford, and it's just low key and fun. It's outside.
Woo! And you'll get an interview.
Happy Valentine's.
Yeah.
Yeah, be on Tidbits. Yeah.
All right. Woo.
Is that the outro music I hear?
Yes. Yeah. You were talking, so I thought I'd lower the volume a little bit.
Let's turn up the volume.
Yeah, I have Monday off, so I'm gonna be at an entire episode of Afternoon Delight on Monday.
All right.
Yeah. No work fucking with me.
I love this outro music. It's really fun.